Less than a minute to go here, the start of the practice race of the Santana 20 Nationals here at Klamath Yacht Club. We're at the pin end just to weather. There's the fleet. Fleet tends to be erring a little more towards the committee boat end. We'll see how this pans out. We're looking at about 8 knots of northwesterly wind. But looks like the teams have generally got off fairly even Steven. A couple of boats tacking away. So we'll see how teams do here. Glenn Hughes' team. It's real conditions where you have to lean in and out to keep the boat at a consistent heel angle. Glenn's got a couple of bodies to leeward to inject a bit of feel in the helm. 906 has more weight to weather. Interesting contrast here between these two teams. Lyle's team sailing a little flatter. Glenn's sailing a little more heel, but maybe a touch faster and higher. The Keeler here with a nice start at the starboard end, maintaining a good gap. So I think Gordon's probably contemplating a tack out, unless he can live there. Feisty has tacked away to sail to clear their wind, but commanding start here by the team on a Keeler. You can see they have a nice gap to leeward, and they're patrolling with the fleet on starboard to this, what appears to be the closest tack to the mark right now. Some people have 2 people up, other people have 3. Depends on the breeze lines they're in, but just want to keep a constant angle of heel so that you're not heeling to weather in any light spots where the foils detach, and not heeling in any puffs. The Keeler doing a nice job of that. Gordon's team is tacked. Let's have a look at their trim. They're in first gear mode right now, slightly more open top batten as they get up to speed. And as we pan over, the fleet is split right. So Mark Erdrich, Austin Quilty and his team from Folsom Lake on Fusion. They appear to be quite strong coming out of the right there with pressure. We'll catch you in a moment. And here Lyle Mayer's team on port came out of the left group. Very close crossing situation with H2O Boa, and they are just going behind, so there's probably a half a length in that. You want to be careful with your ducks. Make sure you duck early, and that's probably a good spot for Lyle to tack there, because Fusion is crossing handily. The right's really got some decent pressure, but a Keeler just to my left has been patient, picked a nice gust to tack in to consolidate, and they are the leader from the left group right now. Glenn's team with Terry Lettenmeyer, very good sailor, driving tack to leeward just to play this side. They didn't like the crossing they saw coming from the right, so they're in speedboat mode right now with slight ease on the sails. Really important to tack in gusts today to get the boat rolling, to minimize loss. You want to be sensitive to main trim. It's easy to overdo main trim, especially in a light spot, but the boat really struggles, so just be sure to ease the main slightly, get yourself into first gear in some of these light spots before squeezing it on in puffs for pointing. Good Manital team tack back. Again, they didn't want to get in the mess of the right. It's getting dense there. And there's a duck. You say when you want to duck, you want to duck early, so you really come tight on the backside. There's a little shot of Fusion setup going upwind. You want to try and match your leech profiles as much as you can, and it looks like they are. Very smooth water, 8 knots of wind right now. First boat around the mark here, so the key thing is to be smooth. I believe it's Feisty from Colorado, Mike McKeever's team. They finessed their way around, crowded weather mark rounding here. So Feisty with a little lead. Paul Stevens' team going with a set here between the marks. The wind has gone right, so you can hoist the chute up. So Feisty going with the chute. Pole's a little bit on the low side. You can see how tight the luff of the sail is. Like the pole to be a little bit higher there. You want it breaking evenly on the luff. Some early sets here with Aquila and Russell Peterson's team. Again, pole tip a little bit low. Fusion not setting. Probably just going around the course. Shenanigans. So the other jibe's going to be favoured. If you can set between the marks, you want to jibe fairly quickly, immediately. And rotate that chute around and get pressure on it on the other side. So if you're going between the offsets here, like Jim Martinez's team, the option to jibe is critical. Get it up and then go into a jibe to get yourself on the favored jibe. You can see 353 and 906 really are going in the wrong direction right now. That was a nice jibe on Glenn's team. Got going probably past, I would say, a minimum of 5 or 6 boats, just by getting on the correct jibe to the mark in this right phase. The wind went right and you could set between the marks there. Sometimes what we'll do is, if we know we want to jibe at the offset immediately and we aren't being harassed by somebody for an overlap, we'll sail a little higher the buoy and then set and then jibe instantly around it on the backside. I'll talk about that later, but it's if you like, a tactical rounding of the offset. Be careful of vang tensions too. Make sure there's enough pressure on the chute. Be sure not to overdo the vang. It's important to keep pressure on the spinnaker here. Spinnaker trimmer needs to be talking non-stop to the driver about how much tug there is. Don't let that sheet sag. But the wind has softened here for the fleet, so you're going to have to play an angle back, looking for a nice puff to jibe in, get themselves going. My observation was, if you're going to jibe today, make sure that you do a jibe and a puff, and make sure you roll the boat with your body as well, just to help get some apparent wind across the sails to get the boat going, and then a nice gentle and smooth rotation on the spinnaker, easing the sheet first and then trimming the guy aft until the clew's on the forestay. Mike McKeever's vang is a little bit on the tight side. You can see the upper batten stalled. You want to pay attention to that one. Ease the vang till the top batten's at least parallel to the boom, and preferably have a mark on it for a fast setting. It's easy to have the vang too tight when the wind starts to fade. Here's Paul's team coming in. They're rounding the left gate looking downwind, so it's a windward takedown. And it's really about being smooth at this point. Don't be too quick to pull the sails in. Really focus on being smooth and tight on the backside. Crew can get their weight to leeward, which is helpful to help turn the boat in these lighter conditions. Now, I think Feisty here had a chance to go to this gate away from the crowd, but they didn't take it. They're now going to be contending with Glenn Hughes' team, who's got into third with a very crisp set. Here's a takedown here that was too late on Shenanigans. It's the practice race. But here you are, if you're an outside boat like Feisty, you really wanted to go around the other gate where there was no traffic. But also, at this point, you want to slow down and round behind this group inside you rather than outside. You never want to round outside. If you round outside, you're down the ladder rung in worse bad air with no option to tack. So if you do find yourself, here's a takedown here. This team, they did a brisk takedown. Don't be too rapid on the Genoa, just follow it to the telltales. Russell Peterson's team here. But clear air is going to be key here coming around. And you can see 920 going into a rolling tack. Rolling into tack. We want to roll the boat here for sure. Definite roll tacking territory. Like to see the weight forward, get that skipper further forward here. Reduce drag in the stern in these light air conditions. Really want to get your weight forward in this stuff to reduce drag aft. Also gives you a little bit more helm. The driver's trying to feel the boat right now, so moving the weight forward just injects a little bit more helm, a little bit more feel. Again, be wary of over trimming, particularly in light spots. What I've seen is some main leeches and some Genoas just a little bit tight when the wind starts to fade and the boat starts to struggle. Just be the first to open your leeches and get the boat going. Think of it as first gear before you trim on and really get the boat rolled up to speed. I'd like to see the weight forward, especially from the driver. Top batten is stalled on the main. I'd like to see a little bit of an ease on that main sheet. You can see how wonk the main sheet is on. The boat is not necessarily up to speed, so we don't trim on hard until the boat's really going. You can see that upper leech stalled, so love to see an ease of the main sheet here. Make sure the vang's not on. Pull the traveler up. More power in the boat. You're thinking max power right now, and that's over trimmed. Class President Lyle Malia and team going upwind. They appear to be in a decent puffy. You can see their main sheet is a little more eased than that other team. They've just got better fast forward speed. The trick now is to just keep the boat at a constant angle of heel. Form an image for both crew and driver between the lower shrouds and the forestay. Form an image on the horizon and try to keep that as consistent as you can with your body weight and your steering. Now they're sailing good pressure in the middle of the course right now. Top mark. The upper left worked well with Kevin Dickey's team on Shenanigans taking the lead. They tack simultaneously around the buoy. Now it's really important to trim the sails properly between the marks here. Make sure you're not over trimmed on Genoas and mains. Be smooth. These two boats went to the left corner, sailed on a little stronger wind. So we'll see how they go. Kevin had good upwind speed there. Gordon setting first. Don't be too antsy to pull the pole back. The apparent wind's forward. Now it's really about keeping pressure on that sail. Kevin Dickey's gone into a jibe. Again, really important to rotate smoothly. Gordon jibing as well. Looks like they can almost set between the buoys. It's close. If you want to, you can always sail high, set, and then jibe at the offset. That's something we'll do to give ourselves a tactical rounding of the offset. So you sail over here, set, and then roll right into the jibe. I do believe these teams, if they sail a little higher, they could set and then jibe instantly at the offset. Like they're doing a set without the pole, but they got to rotate that sail around. If you're going to do that, you've got to pre-feed the sail all the way up hatch and be pulling on that starboard sheet aggressively to get the spinnaker around. Now there's a set between the marks there. I like see that on Glenn's team. They're going to make big gains. Now Red Widow in fourth here, local Klamath boat, local favorite. But let's pull that sheet on. Let's get, roll right into a jibe now to protect that inside position. So Red Widow really needs to jibe instantly to protect that left side. This team's going to jibe inside them and they'll pass. There they go. Just got to get that top batten to clear. The more roll will help that top batten clear. But let's get that chute filled and jibe in instantly. So say if you're thinking about a set without the pole, make sure you get the starboard sheet out and pre-feed as much as you possibly can, so that as you jibe, you've got most of the sail going onto the starboard side. This team has elected just to do a bear away. There, they're going into the jibe. Jibe the main a little bit early. You can see, you see, the way you want to choreograph a jibe is that the pole and the main mismatch each other. So that as the pole's being made, the main is jibing fully out on the other side. That way you get maximum projection. If you jibe the main prematurely relative to the spinnaker doesn't have a chance to grab the air. Interesting tactical poser for both teams. Kevin Dickey, the right boat with the white spinnaker. H2O Boa, Gordon Manitoul's team, making a decision here to go to the gate, the right gate looking downwind. You'll see it right here. That's the advantage he has. He can split to that. Kevin Dickey's now going to take the left turn. So the thing you have to figure out is which gate is favored, which gate is further upwind. Now, if you think it's favored by 2 boat lengths, it's actually going to be 4 boat lengths, because it'll be 2 boat lengths down and 2 boat lengths up. Now, Gordon's had second thoughts about coming our way, and he's going to be rounding this left gate looking downwind. So Kevin here, no overlap. No overlap in the 3-length zone, but we'll see how they go. Yep, Gordon took the prudent thing there, just rounded tight on the backside. Make sure the boat doesn't heel to weather at all in these conditions. If you're mid-deck, foredeck, just get your weight to leeward a little bit, help the boat turn, encourage the turn, and be very gentle on the sail trim, particularly with the Genoa, strictly to the telltales. There's a clearing tack by H2O Boa. They tack to clear their wind. Now the only downside to that is they're going to contend with a couple of spinnakers coming their way. So, you know, the way to figure out which gate's favored can be a little tricky, but one technique I use is if port jibe is heavily favored on the last jibe, you know, it's the jibe of choice, then the left gate looking downwind is the way to go. It's going to be upwind. If starboard jibe is heavily favored to be in phase downwind, then very often the right gate looking downwind is the further advantage buoy. But of course you have to weigh that with clear air, the need for clear air, and also the exit point. Which side of the course do you want to play to get yourself in phase with the velocity? Which side paid last time, for instance? And then the other consideration with the gates is the number of spinnakers that you're going to have to contend with sailing back. You can take the gate that takes you away from the chutes, away from the spinnakers. That's going to be a gain in terms of getting clear air. Sorry, right gate looking downwind is now favored. Port pole's favored. Left gate looking downwind tends to be favored in terms of being further upwind or closer. Now again, here's a close scenario rounding. Team on the outside was wise to douse early. Given that they are outside boat, they need to slow down and try and round inside the boat inside them, or at least behind them at very worst. Let's see how this goes. 906 making the rounding. So again, we'll trim the Genoa perfectly to the telltales. Trim the main in. Make sure you don't wonk the main on because you're not up to speed yet. Still leave it in first gear. And a nice rounding by 113 by C to get clear air. You don't want to wonk the main sheet on in these conditions as you exit the buoy. You're not up to speed yet. Don't squeeze it on until the boat's really going. Here we are, upwind finish. Really important to finish at an end and shoot finishing as well. Ideally, you blow the jib sheet and you shove the bow up. Never finish in the middle and never parallel the line. Go here to the start of the second practice race. We're at the starboard end of the line this time, and it seems to be a very, very popular place to be with Russell Peterson here. Key thing is to know the ley line, the starboard tack ley line, so you're not barging. And here's some Ron Fisher's team here. Looks like they're electing to start to the left of the group. "27 seconds. Well, the fleet's going down the line, so they're piling up. Patience is key. You can stop the boat and open up your gap to leeward. Nice start on Glenn's team, 907. 656. Keeler fought for the boat end. Now they're rolling. Watch out here. Watch out, Mick. Watch out. They're rolling into attack, so the Keeler immediately attacking to clear their wind. Yeah. They were over, so they went back, and now they're getting going. When you're over early, you just got to basically tack and, well, number one, get clear air. Number two, get the boat moving fast. And then number three, remember the game plan. Which side of the course do you want? Do you want the right, left, or the middle? And look for lanes. Don't just abandon the game plan because you're behind. Get a lane, clear air, get the boat moving fast, and remember which way you want it to go. Your pre-race strategy. It's just so important to have a lane of clear wind to go fast off the line. It's just a premium importance. 9 here. Main is trimmed too tight, not to pick on this group, but they really are wonked on with the main. Too tight with that top batten's cupping way in. That's going to give you a high but very slow mode. Starboard tacker in terms of 906. Nope. There we go, and we heave to. So you've got to look where you're going. Get a discussion going about starboard tackers. Which side of them do you want? Which side of the course do you want to play? Tacked on 906. Wind turn is sitting on 539. So quite a bit of bad air here. Really, if you're 539, you can't sit there long. You need to tack out. And 668 loving it because they're in clear air just to weather, making gains on the group. And you want to roll the boat here, just do a gentle roll with the weight. No rush to go to the other side in these conditions. And then really work on speed build out of the tack. The lees of the main. The Genoa out 6 to 8 inches off the spreaders. Get the boat rolling and then slowly squeeze both leeches in. Max trim today, probably around 2 to 4 inches off the spreaders on the Genoa. And the top batten, maybe 5 degrees hooked in from parallel. Once you're rolling though. Weather mark, very tight racing in this smooth water. The lead teams appear to be coming from the left side. So they're setting here, indicating the wind has gone right. Setting early, and I think Disaster may be thinking about a jibe. Yep, they're jibing. So 656 had a nice jibe inside. Look at the teams here. Look at that top batten cleared. Here's a nice lane for this team on 784 to jibe, get away from the pack behind them. You can see there's a pack right behind. You don't want to be Lyle's team here pinned outside. You want to option the jibe and get yourself on the port jibe. This group here is 668, but two things really that strike. Number one, spinnaker's not all the way up to the top. It's about 6-9 inches off. That really makes the top of the spinnaker unstable. Looks like maybe a foot actually. The other thing is, look how tight the vang is. You see the top batten really cupping into weather. You want to ease that vang to get projection on the mainsail so the top batten is either parallel to the boom or a couple of degrees open from parallel. So rehoist the chute and ease the vang to get that top batten parallel, just to add here. Luffing duel going on. 784. Wow. You gotta just be careful. The old saying is one sharp luff is much better than 10 small ones. If you're gonna do it, just get it over with. Now unfortunately this team wasn't decisive enough and ended up getting rolled. One sharp one is always better than soundbite ones. So Russell's team went for a luff, but maybe not as aggressively enough. They've been wise to jibe away though, get away from the group and just find their space. You're never fast when you're in a pack of boats. Packs of boats tend to slow each other down. They disturb each other's air and water. We try to stay away from a group if we can to get a clearer lane and clearer water to sail in. 919, you can see top batten hooking in slightly, but they're not the only one. Now on 784 we would like to see the main further out. Let's get projection here. Let's ease that main out further. Never let the clue of the spinnaker drift to weather of the forestay. You lose projection at that point. I think they're okay, but just like to see that main ease out further than it is. There you go, they may have actually done it. Good to see. The gate mark, Ron Fisher's team with a bigger lead. They just played the shore, stayed on starboard jibe longer. Good rounding there of the right gate looking downwind. They're going to work that left side, looks like again. Paul Stevens' team coming in, taking the left gate. They're going to get the split, which is the advantage from being behind. They can get some leverage at this gate mark here and get some leverage and maybe make a right shift work for them. That's the advantage of being behind with gates, is if you can force a split by going to the other one. Look at the leverage now between Aquila and Giddy Up going to the left. Already significant. A 5-degree shift will give a 12% advantage or disadvantage. Right gate looking downwind again. Never get your bow hooked to leeward. You see there's a lot of space there. A lot of space. You could fit 2 Santana 20s in there with the space that this group of 3 have left. Don't be one of them. Going upwind now. Aquila had taken a consolidation move tack over to connect with Giddy Up, maybe get onto the lift attack as well. So they're trimmed on hard for these smooth water 8 to 10 knot conditions. Really great sailing for the class right now. Crews are starting to come up to the high side as the breeze gradually builds in the afternoon. Looks like a nice port tack lift, so starboard tack should be favored when they come downwind. Paul Stevens' team here in hot pursuit. All 3 teams sailing well. Glenn Hughes' team on bipolar, again sailing level. Maybe with a touch more helm. Terry might like a bit more heel. than Paul and Ron. Going fast nonetheless. So here's the leader. Let's see their spinnaker set. Pretty comfortable lead here. Need to keep pressing though. Tug on that sheet. Really important to have a mark on the pole lift. There we go. Got the pole up. Just, you know, establish that fast pole height. Have a mark and then hoist the pole to it. You can see the pole's a little bit low, but you can tell it's too low when the top part of the spinnaker luffs. But comfortable lead there. Need to square that pole back some. Here's a keeler on their set. Pressure hoist on the halyard. Jib is a little bit hair tight. Not bad. They got the set done. Looks like they're rolling straight into a jibe, so bow person just has to catch up there. And here's a set, and they're going to go right into a jibe. They see port jibe is favored, and it looks like it is. It looks like it's the closest jibe to the mark. So with the top batten fouling, we just need to bang it down some more and roll the boat. But they got it. So there's the top three. Have all jibed on the port. 353. Orient Express has a chance now if they can fill to roll into the jibe and get onto the favoured jibe inside Lyle's team. Now there's the jibe. Need more rotation on the spinnaker. Pull back, ease sheet till the clue's at the forestay. Not enough rotation here. So, you know, that's something we need to communicate, is if we're going to get on the port jibe quickly, don't even bother pulling the Genoa down. Just go ahead and set. You can jibe behind the leech of the Genoa. You can jibe behind the leech of the Genoa, jibe the pole, and then drop the Genoa, because the positioning is priority over pulling the Genoa down. We'll say goodbye after two great races here at the Santana 20 Nationals, practice races, thanks to race committee and also gentlemen on this boat here. We'll see you back at the club.